G'day everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Zwift's PAS Racing Series Stage 4, Category C. Current race score is 394 and we are now ready to rock and roll and get stuck into this final stage. Bit more of a sort of couple of climbs in here, so not 100% suited to me. A couple of big 5-6 minute attempts here, but we'll see how we go. So let's get stuck into the lead in, and it's all going to be downhill. We're all on gravel bikes here, so I wouldn't think too many people would be on a road bike. As you can see there, the course is the Serpentine 8 with a 26.7 kilometre race with the lead-in included. As you can see, we've got two big climbs going up each side of the mountain with a couple of kickers in there. Obviously one kicker as well in the lead-in, as you can see in the top right corner there. So we're going to see how we go here. Obviously we're expecting some people to try and break away, but hopefully for the most part we can keep it together, because that's where my strength is in the sprinting, because I'm definitely not a big climber. So even though these climbs are draftable, definitely not my forte. Doing big climbs and trying to keep it as a bunch sprint at the end would be ideal for myself. As we've come into the gravel section here, a couple of guys off the front just put a few little watts per kilo up a little bit just to see what happened here. And a few guys at the back almost lost it here, almost lost the draft, but for the most part they regrouped back in, and yeah, pretty straightforward. Obviously still descending down to the bottom of the jungle here, and then we'll start the climb back out up the mountain. So here we go, we're now down obviously the bottom of the mountain here, and we're ready to climb out of it. So obviously this is the first big part here, the real test, see if anyone's going to try and break away from the group. And as you see, I was pushed out of position a bit with how sort of the draft works, and that way you sort of get too close and they sort of, your avatar gets shoved out of the way, but managed to get back in. And then, yeah, just trying to sit in the draft here and climb out of it. And it doesn't take long for a few guys down the back of this group here to start dropping away. So I just need to make sure I was up the front with any sort of group that tried to break away here. And there was definitely the Swede, Ollie, really put the power down, especially in this first one, to try and break away, which he actually managed to do. And no one was really too interested in chasing him. So he eventually broke away from us, and we ended up being a group of about 7 or 8 of us, with him broken away further up the climb. So now as we finish cresting the mountain here and we start getting ready just to do the bridge here, so obviously got a bit of a kick coming out of the bridge, so I just want to try and stay in the draft and roll through it. I have saved my steamroller power-ups because I basically want to try and use it coming down the mountain this time. Obviously Ollie's at 18 seconds, and I know I'm not going to be able to catch him in a climb, but I can probably catch him with the weight I've got coming down the mountain. Hopefully people want to work together and roll through and try and close this gap down. So we'll see how it goes coming down the mountain, and sort of see where we end up when we get to the next kicker before we start the big final climb up the other side of the mountain. So now I've sped up the descent and also the descent into the kicker as well, because we've actually managed to catch up about 11 or 12 seconds, so which was pretty good. Pretty happy with that. I knew that then we could catch him up again coming down the mountain if he did to try and break away. So obviously he did push it actually back up this sort of kicker here, which again, no one was really too fussed about chasing him in this front group here. So he sort of got back out about 15 or so seconds again. So once again, we chased him down in this next part, and then sort of, yeah, we'll start the final climb soon. So, and here we go. Obviously now we are ready for the final climb coming up. Obviously the big climb back up the other side of the mountain here, and we have actually managed to catch him. So we reeled him back in from about 18 to 5 seconds, and then he got back out to 15, 16, and finally got him now with about just under 10k to go. So we'll be back to one big group at the front here again of about 10 riders, ready to, yeah, punch up the mountain and sort of see who can hold on and see where we are coming into the final kicker. So here it is now, we are into the final climb up the other side of the mountain now. So I've still got my steamroller power up. Obviously you get 2 for this sort of race, which is good. Use the first one obviously and try and save this second one for the run to the finish line. So yeah, now it is all about just trying to conserve. I know my strategic plan is to basically keep it as a bunch. I know there's definitely going to be some people, Ollie and maybe a couple others, that might try and break away and split up and sort of go long. But obviously for me, that's not really an option. My endurance power numbers aren't there. So we will try and just, stick with them, stick in the draft and try and use as minimal energy as possible. There is a couple people here that just get fallen away there. They lose the draft, and by that stage, they're obviously not going to be catching back up. So a couple more people drop off there. Ollie went again, and I thought I'd just see how I went, see if I could stay with him. Obviously, Lang there looks pretty good as well, so I managed to stay in their draft and, get ready for the last portion here coming down the mountain and into the final kicker. And this is where the race really does turn on its head. So obviously, I can run with about a higher heart rate, so I managed to get it back down to that 160. But my legs by this stage are pretty fried, and this is where I wasn't paying enough attention, and Lang there off the front just went, and he went at about 5 to 7 watts per kilo. And by the time I tried to react to stay with him, stay in his draft, it was basically too late. So he just took off up this hill, up this final kicker, and once he was about a second ahead and I had no draft, it was going to be almost impossible for me to catch up because that's not my forte, and it's just too hard for me to try and catch and then hold there by that stage. So I had to sort of almost just rein it in and find out who I could stick with here and just try and get to the end in a sort of a bunch. I can try and fight for the podium. And so this is point here, Ollie and another guy, I think it's Freya's, basically caught up to me, and by this stage I knew if I could stick with these guys, then I could, fight for that podium. Obviously I got sort of decent weight coming down the mountain, so I knew Ollie definitely wasn't going to be running away with it, so I could sort of just cruise down the mountain, try and get that heart rate down a little bit and get ready for a final push to the line. And by this stage I still had my power up, and I seen he had his and used it, and that's when I started just to up the power, try and stay in that draft and just sort of keep drafting up to him and then get ready for my final push, which isn't too far away. So because Ollie was going long range here, and I sort of was just not close enough to get the full benefit of his draft, I've hit my power up here now, so the steamroller, try and get back in the draft and close it up a bit more, sort of waiting around that 200-300 meter mark where I was going to go. But then I did notice that his power just dropped off, so I sort of eased up a little bit now, knowing that got FaZe behind me, so there was no point in me going all out because FaZe would just draft past me. So I waited, then decided to turn straight down closest from the finish line and basically just go all out as best I can. Obviously one thing I forgot to do is shift up gear, so I'm pedaling like crazy, too busy concentrating on him and not actually shifting up gears, and I just managed to hold on. So stoked to hold on a second, just managed to hold on to it there. So overall, really good series for me. Racing Cat C, I had 3 seconds and a win in stage 2. Overall, thoroughly enjoyed this series, so make sure you do comment below if you like this sort of content. I can make some more, and by all means, join us at the fellowship, and we'll catch you on Zwift.